Okay, so we have two barrels now, and they're all joined, they're all combined. So all these objects are combined onto it. Again, that's just mesh combine. So here, what we're going to do is take and do 2 UV snapshots. And I'm just going to browse out to the directory that this is supposed to go. And this is a directory that I have on a hard drive called Barrel of Monkeys. And I call this Mir. Period TIFF. Okay, make sure it says TIFF. Hit OK. Again, I'm highlighting the other one green in object mode. This one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to type non-mir. Once done, hit OK. And open those both up in Photoshop. Okay. In the very last, well, no. Yeah, in the last lesson, I taught you how to take and tile textures. I made some wood patterns. So it was a floor. We're going to be utilizing that floor texture again. And we're also going to be utilizing a texture on the internet. It was found at houseoftutorials.net/zfleamarket. I introduced that website in the last lesson. But now I just had to find that raw. And this is the advantage of keeping raw files around. It doesn't look like I have that one in here. So let me go out to the internet and get that. There we go. So in here, I have metal. I'm going to be choosing a metal in here. That doesn't have a whole lot of patterns to it. I mean, you don't want something that's just wholly over patterned. And this has this big crease here that we're going to have to get rid of. It's an okay shot. This is shot with my other camera though, so it's not as good. You can see the vignetting that's appearing on the outside caused from the lens. That's typical of taking a picture with a telescopic lens of texture. Lesson that I learned, don't do that. It's better to use a macro camera or a macro lens to capture texture. Okay, so for this texture right here, we're just going to go File, New, OK, then Edit, Paste. So I have it within the scene. So now this is what I have. I have 2 UV sets, the floor texture that I had from one of the previous lessons, and a new metal texture. This one I'm going to rotate the canvas 90 degrees. And I'm going to copy this layer over to both mirror and non-mirrored. Essentially now I have this. See, I have 2 layers. Also, I'm going to take this one, do the same thing. So now I should have these, and I have three layers. Okay, the first thing I like to preach about is scale. Okay, so oftentimes I see this so many times, it just is disheartening to an instructor. But scale is important. If I was to wrap this texture around a barrel, I would want it to be the same size as a realistic barrel, and you can see these planks probably match up pretty good. But you would not want something like this. You know, if I had this really scaled, really big, well, now if you made a barrel, it would be really hard to make a barrel in real life using 3 or 4 planks. So just keep that in mind. Scale is very important when it comes to texturing. I could preach it all day long, but until you start messing up on things or noticing things look bad because of scale, you're not going to learn it. It's just one of those lessons that you have to learn in life. Alright, so my UVs are really hard to see. What I could do here, double click this layer and hit OK. That will unlock it, and I can go image adjustments, invert it, and then set it to the top. Then I can set it to multiply. If that's still too hard to see, and I think it is for the video, you can try a different type of layout. But you're probably going to have to stick with the topmost ones because they rely on black being opaque. So linear burn looks a little bit better. I can kind of see what's going on. The wood looks like it's matching up quite well. The metal, however, needs a little bit of guidance. So I'm going to shrink this down. Whoa, not that one. Don't apply. This one is what I want to shrink down. And I'm holding shift here just to keep the texture uniformed. And you could probably guess that scale across many textures is also important. Think about this metal, for instance. This metal has some very fine noise. Well, if the noise was bigger than the wood texture, it would not look good. So you don't want to just stretch a texture in there willy-nilly and just be done with it. You want to compare it to the others. So compare the noise ratio of the wood right next to the metal itself and see if there's a scale correlation between them. And you can see, yes, that does work. So I'll need to duplicate this, and I'll need to set it up on top. And then I have to get rid of all the artifacts that is involved here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just go layer, merge down, and that'll merge the 2 metal textures together. I can then turn all this stuff off to utilize memory and go in here and try to patch this together. I don't want these big streaks of metal to appear in here. Now the patch tool sometimes works, but the bad thing about the patch tool is it doesn't like white. So you might have some other anomalies show up because of the patch tool. It's better to do this, I found, if you take the clone stamp tool and do it first. So have the flow set up, have a soft brush, and kind of get rid of all white attributes in the mesh or in the texture. And I'm being a little sloppy here because I know that it looks okay at the very end. So I'm just going to have to bear with my sloppiness here. Once all the attributes of white are out of it, you can now use the patch tool more effectively. And there we go. That looks so much better. Careful repeating the rust too much. In the next video, I'm going to keep continuing to do this.